It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 8 p.m. CET. Piotr here. This is the Light Forex Global YouTube channel, and we are trying to make the summary of the day. There are still 2 hours towards the end of the New York session. One can ask the question, so why now? Because the thing I wanted to discuss for a second is also the British pound and then the TV debate starting very soon. Of course, about the President Trump, about the China-US trade war as well, a few words, and my small exposure on the market. But before we start discussion, let's have a quick risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind, trading effects on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors, can sustain loss of some more initial investment. So please do not invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance, of course, doesn't guarantee future results. All right, so what we have, guys, what is important this evening? The first thing first, we have, as I mentioned, 2 hours towards the end of the New York session. Of course, the liquidity is drying up, so that's the first important thing, right? Especially on the FX market. The second thing, 8 p.m. GMT, we are going to get this UK TV debate, of course, in relation to the election, UK election, and YouGov said that right after the debate they are going to provide they're going to provide the update, the latest pool, and that what might cause some move on the pound. All right, that what might cause the move on the pound. Low liquidity might eventually be one of the reasons of the higher cable volatility. Now, with today's pullback, it doesn't look great from the bear's perspective, at least for now. All right. So what we have yesterday, we have a break to the upside. We took out. One second. We took out the high which has been created the last day of the October, right? So some stops were taken out, but still under this swing high, we've seen 21st of created 21st of October, right? Today there is when we are talking about some different pulls, right? So there is a pullback now. Either we are going to stay inside that consolidation, right? We can even try to make it based on the without the upper and lower shadows. We can talk about opening and closing levels. All right. So either yesterday there was another stop count to the upside based on the consolidation, right? Now I would say that 50% of that consolidation is going to be important, but it's not going to be it's not gonna be that important, and I can quickly explain what I mean by that. Either we are going to hold weekly open, either we are going to hold yesterday low, that also the levels related to that weakness we've seen here, all right? Okay, that's the latest weakness, right? And we were trying to run out of that. Taking into the consideration opening and closing levels, the truth is that we took out these levels, all right? So in that case, definitely we should hold eventually. That zone is going to be better visible on a smaller time frame. Of course, from the bear's perspective, taking into the consideration where we are right here right now, right? So especially in case of some disappointments with low liquidity, that's gonna be easier for sellers to try to push and close the day below the weekly open. That would create, if you can visualize for yourself weekly candle, that would create upper shadow and start to create negative body, right? Well, we will see. So let's switch lower. Let's switch to the intraday chart, because we are approaching the levels where really we should see some bullish activity, right? So in case we are talking about some kind of the channel, right, downward channel, that could be related into the big bull flag here on the cable, right? And we saw the break to the upside, okay? So it looks like it's time slowly to try to consider the zone between weekly open and yesterday low as possible demand. The next one is a little bit lower, closer to 2870. So taking into the consideration those low liquidity right now, so in case you are looking to buy cable, I would rather wait for some spike to the downside and would rather want to see some bullish activity around 2870 with quick recovery toward the end of the day, creating some kind of the lower shadow on a higher time frame. I'm sorry. I wouldn't try to trade off that first level, right? Because there's no advantage, right? Here, we cannot get and have some advantage based on what others may want to do, because you know, the weekly open is gonna be treated as a good possible entry, so everyone is looking probably to try to trade the pound here. Okay, that's how I see the things on the cable, right? So if you are a buyer, you wanna wait a little bit lower. On the other hand, if you are a seller, let's get back to the daily. If you are a seller, right? So what you wanna see the daily close today. The best case scenario, you wanna see the daily close below yesterday low, right? Then tomorrow, right? So the close would be somewhere below 29, right? Then tomorrow, depends on the price action during the Tokyo session, right? We might try to consider some shorts, but first I want to see the daily close below yesterday, so Monday low. All right, so that's how I see the cable. So right now let's have a look and discuss EURJPY and why do I have a short position here. Okay, so we were discussing EURJPY a few days earlier. What I like here, that's the intraday chart, that's the 1 hour chart. What I like here is that the market was looking for a liquidity based on all those political news related to, mostly related to the US-China trade war. Market found the liquidity above 120.60, right? Basically at the very beginning I've been thinking about shorting this one around 120.20 if you remember, but with this type of the move, one-way ticket move to the upside, they finally found some liquidity, and shorts started to be more active yesterday around 120.70, right? So we took out the stops, strong move to the downside, especially what I like and what was decision behind the short is that the first move to the downside, we were testing here, the latest demand, right? There was a attempt to rally, then we broke through that demand. So I've been looking what was going on to the left, right? And that was my entry level. My stop is a little bit higher, especially for upcoming Tokyo session. I still have a space because with these parameters, I still got like 3R possible in case we are going to hit the lower levels. And why my target is around 119.20, we were also discussing this. There is a nice pool of liquidity. There is a possibility that market may want to try this over under visible here. Let me place some, yeah, visible here, right? Here, so you can check by yourself. So I truly believe that we might eventually to hit that level. Of course, going back below 120 right now is the key. So what's going on? At the very beginning of the US session, we had some signs of the risk off. We saw the indices going down, but then there was a news that okay, both sides, you know, as a benchmark, they are taking the May date where all of them were saying that deal is very close, right? So the Chinese wants all tariffs after the May. They want to be them to roll back US to roll back those tariffs to start to finish the phase 1 and start to phase 2. I don't know how many the phases we are going to have. Anyway, and that's spur a little bit of the risk rally, right? But then President Trump said that he doesn't care, and if there is no deal, then he may raise the tariffs, and we had spike to the downside. So you know, the politicians are drawing the charts right now. That's why we have to be very careful. And I think for the next 24 hours, yen crosses indices and the pound, that might be the name of the game, is enough, right? But don't forget, as you can see right under the chart, tomorrow afternoon we are going to cover Canadian CPI, and the Canadian dollar is gonna be in focus, or might be in focus as well. So you are more than welcome to join me tomorrow. 15 minutes ahead of the event, 2:15 p.m. CET. So we will check if there is a possibility to try to grab a few pips after the news. Is gonna be more trade news related case. Anyway, so that's how I see the EURJPY. And the final thing, S&P. Anyway, you know, there is no doubt about it that the bulls are, you know, damaging the bears, right? But I like today's price, late yesterday, and today's price action after we broke the fastest line. right? We are trying to hold top of the latest channel, intraday channel, all right? And we are trying to hold it. But guys, if you spend some time with me already, you know that the best failures around the top of the channel are some kind of the either double top where the second top is higher, or some kind of the formation similar to the head and shoulders. That's all we are going to, that all informations about the particular strategies I'm going to provide with this new cycle we started this week. I'm talking about the FX education class, the short videos I'm recording, or short streams, which are then possible to find in the archive section, right? So why I like S&P here since yesterday price action from the intraday perspective. Of course, taking into the consideration the break of this fast line, it might be that we are going to make another high, no doubt about it, and I do understand that it might happen, right? Just to squeeze even more sellers. I do understand that we might go and make this third test here. That's another thing that I do understand, but what I would like to show you, what I'm going to watch very carefully towards the end of the session, right? What I'm going to watch towards the end of the session is this huge sell-off which took place again during the cash market, very similar to what we've seen yesterday. Then pre-market new high. Yesterday pre-market new high, right? So the bears are more active during the cash market. And of course, as I mentioned, I do understand as we are approaching again post-market hours, so we might see sky high, for example. But what I like the most here is during this market move to the downside, we took out all this pre-market activity, right? So I'm looking for opportunity, guys, and be careful, some of you might be shocked. I'm looking for opportunity to sell that beast. And based on this top formation which is created right at the top of the channel, above the top of the channel, right? And you might call me crazy, but I'm going to take, I've got two things which are confirming, or three things which confirming my idea. So I'm looking to sell rallies towards, based on my chart, guys. So you have to have a light forex chart to be at the same level with me. I'm looking to sell rallies towards 3,125, 127 with very tight stop above 35. And I'm looking for the first target as a bottom of the channel. So I'm looking for 3095, 3090, right? So I'm looking for this type of the move to the downside, right? So to retest, so failure around the top of the channel, we should see retest of the lower channel. Of course, the bottom of the channel is also rising, so I might adjust the target, right? So that's how I see the S&P. Well, I'm not talking about the catastrophic things are going to happen. Because there are no signs, at least for now, based on what we see on the chart. Well, you know, healthy move to the downside called as a correction would be useful here. And I'm not talking because I'm looking to sell the S&P overall, right? Anyway, Home Depot today, last week, so not good earnings report. You know, this market is going you know, to the upside a little bit out of everything, and that's not good sign, right? I'm not talking that someone is going to turn off the light right here right now, because I think we still have some time, but overall I'm quiet to the downside right here right now on indices. So one of the reasons I'm holding EURJPY short and looking to sell S&P. Again, be careful, guys, with cable. I think euro dollar sleepy. The last thing, but I do have exposure on EURJPY, but I think rally back towards the weekly open, so rally back on dollar yen towards 108.80, 109, slightly above. That could be also eventually the chance to have the yen long exposure. Tomorrow, when we are going to cover Canadian CPI, we might also have a check Canadian yen. So guys, that was the quick summary of the day. Hopefully you enjoy it. That's how the things looks like based on my opinion. Have a great rest of the New York session. Have a great evening. Have a great rest of the day. It was my pleasure as usual, and see you again tomorrow. Don't forget, we are going to monitor the Canadian CPI tomorrow. Take care and good night.